Hello and welcome. Thanks for coming to watch my Fred Whitton 2026 video. For those of you not aware, the Fred Whitton is usually a 180 kilometre sportive with over about 3,500 metres of elevation. It's set in a beautiful Lake District and it's going up some of the toughest climbs in the UK, making the Fred Whitton one of the hardest and probably the most prestigious sportive in the whole of the UK. This year's route, however, was shortened. The Kirkstone Pass suffered a landslip late last year, and I don't think the council had got around to being able to fix it in time. So the decision was made to cut out the Kirkstone Pass as the first climb and introduce the Struggle. Now, the Struggle is a much shorter climb. I think this cut around 6 miles or 10k off the course. But this in no way made the route any easier. The Struggle is, in fact, as the name would suggest, quite a tough climb. It came only 5k into the Fred Whitton 2026, giving everyone basically little to no warm-up time. And yes, it's a tough enough climb that there were several people requiring to walk parts of it. Fortunately, I had done the Struggle once before, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, on another event called the Hardest 100, which took in many of the climbs that we did during the Fred Whitton, but ultimately it's a different sportive. But yeah, because of that, I knew what to expect. This year, I also managed to convince a couple of friends to take part. And in fact, one of them friends, this was their first ever cycle sportive, and they successfully got round in under 10 hours. So hats off to them.
Go, Cam! Nearly there. Where's Si? Is there? This looks brutal, this bit. Yeah. When you're back there looking at it, it's like, wow, got to go up that. There's the drone. Cheers.
The Kirkstone Pass descent. I've done it twice before. Did it a couple of years ago as part of Land's End to John O'Groats, and then again did it last year during the Fred Whitton. The road surface is new, smooth and fast. It's brilliant. You do have to look out for sheep, and you have to also remember it is an open road. Fortunately though, as you're going down, you do get a very good view of things, so you can see what is coming.
Keep going, keep going. Go, Ollie! Ollie, victory! Yes,
At a Dale End. Like many of the climbs, I was quite happy to sit in my lowest gears and not push too much effort in order to protect my back. I was comfortable with this. It seemed everyone else around me was getting up them quicker, but I knew I needed to do my own thing and it would work out for the best. Unlike last year, which was generally a hot ride, this year started off cold, very cold in fact. It was freezing. I had frost on my tyres after rolling the bike across the start field, and unfortunately for one of my friend's parents, they had decided to camp the night at the foot of Kirkstone Pass descent, and I don't think they got much sleep due to the incredibly low temperatures.
Cheers, marshals!
Hollister Pass. Usually where the first real test of the day is with its 25% gradients. But due to the inclusion of the struggle this year, I don't think that was the case. I think the struggle is just as tough, maybe more so. Still, Hollister does start very steep, but gradually unwinds until you reach the top of one of the more dicey descents of the day. Proceed with caution. It's very steep and bumpy off the top of Hollister. And it would be very easy to lose control and have a nasty accident.
Morning.
Morning. Going alright?
Grand.
Good.
Need more hills.
You think?
Naturally, I wanted to do better than my time from last year. Granted, the course was shorter, but I felt that if I could improve my time by more than 20 minutes, I had probably been successful with that target in some way. Last year I got round in 8 hours and 15 minutes, and I didn't put a foot down, at least not when it mattered, you know, on the climbs like Hard Knot Pass. Having said that, for much of the middle third last year I didn't feel particularly well and spent a good 20 minutes or so in the second feed station trying to make myself feel better before the inevitable Hard Knot Pass. Therefore I had hoped it would be a doddle to knock a lot of time off this year's ride. I just needed to ensure I didn't start feeling unwell. Of course you can't predict this. However, unfortunately going into this event I had been suffering a bit with lower back in recent weeks, and I knew from Loch Ness that I would might struggle at the Fred. Climbs in particular are a problem for my lower back, it seems. To help with this, I took the executive decision to put smaller 46-30 chainrings on my road bike. I used 52-36 chainrings at Loch Ness, which is a much flatter and faster course. Sure, putting these smaller chainrings on cut my top speed, but on a course like the Fred, going over 70 kilometers per hour isn't something you tend to attain that often, and so I felt I wouldn't be spinning out so much with the 46 chainring. Really, on a course like the Fred, all the time you make up is going to be on the climbs and ensuring you don't get cramp or backache. So along with the 1136 cassette, this gave me a much lower gear ratio than most people around me, and perhaps to be expected, I found it even on some of the steeper parts of the course, I could sit in the saddle when others couldn't. One somewhat unrealised benefit of this change was that I found myself staying in the bigger chain ring significantly longer, and this was actually a much bigger benefit at the Dragon Ride Devil, where the climbs are shallower.
Yep.
Hard Knot Pass, it needs no introductions. Personally, I believe this is the hardest climb I've ever done. I've done long alpine climbs in Europe, but none of them make you feel like Hard Knot Pass. None of them make you feel like you want to get off the bike and walk like this does, relentlessly for 20 minutes. I say 20 minutes, it was actually nearer 23 minutes, which was a good couple of minutes slower than last year. I took full advantage of the very low gear ratios to average just 197 watts, which was still enough to do it without putting a foot down.
Well done, man.
Well done, you. You've been fantastic. Keep the speed up, don't put a foot down. Come on. You've got 50 metres and you've done it hard bit then. Come on, keep it going. Go on. Go on, keep it going. Not so hard, it's not enough now.
And just when you think you've recovered from Hard Knot Pass, comes Rhino's Pass. This is another tough climb with gradients over 20%.
Cheers.
The Rhino's Pass descent is another dicey one. The last couple of years people have had bad accidents on this descent, and I'm fairly sure both times they needed the air ambulance and the Sportive had to be paused at least while they were being picked up.
got this!
Cheers.
This year I started with more carbs and more fluids on me than last year. As it turns out, far more than I actually needed. I had a saddlebag that allowed me to carry a third bottle, and therefore I had about 2.7 litres of fluid carrying capacity from the get-go. Although the third bottle didn't have fluid in from the start, it did have the energy powder in it ready to go, and this helped save me time later. For energy, I mostly use High 5 energy mix in my fluids. This is generally because I'm quite a heavy sweater and find I have a high requirement for fluids, so in order to get my 90 to 120 grams of carbs in, I figure I probably should just put it in the fluids and drink it. But along with that, I also had some quality jelly sweets from Marks & Spencer and High 5 energy bars, way more than I needed. I think I took 6 and then only had 1. Due to the colder temperatures though, I wasn't sweating anywhere near as much as I usually do, and this is a great relief in an event like this, because as I say, I'm generally quite a heavy sweater. Therefore, once I got to the first feed station, I realised I still had plenty of fluids on me, and quick maths told me that I could probably get to the water stop comfortably with what I had. And as it turns out, that's exactly what happened. I then probably stopped at the water stop for no more than 5 minutes, filled up my 3 bottles, and then as it transpired, I then still had enough fluid and enough carbs on me when I got to the second feed station that again I decided I didn't need to stop. Much like last year, after all the big climbs were done, I was feeling really strong going into the last 45 minutes. I got on the back of this group coming through just now, and managed to stick with them for most of that final section.
Cheers. Cheers, Marshall.
Overall, I was really happy with the result. Nearly 40 minutes quicker than last year, which I thought was especially good considering how my back had been feeling at times. Both my friends really enjoyed it too. I think we would all like to do it again. It's an event I can highly recommend, and if nothing else, it's a great day out, especially when the weather is like it has been the last couple of years. Thanks very much for watching, and if you like this video, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, as there will be more videos in the future. Cheers!